Long ago, before pyramids touched the sky and Rome ever rose, there was a land nestled between two mighty rivers, the Tigris and the Euphrates, flowing through what we now know as Iraq, Syria, and Turkey. This land, called Mesopotamia, which means the land between rivers, became the stage for humanity's first great experiment, civilization. It didn't begin with empires or armies, but with farmers. Each year, the rivers flooded and then receded, leaving behind rich, fertile silt. The people learned to tame these waters with canals and dikes, growing fields of barley and wheat beneath the scorching sun. Small villages grew into bustling cities. It was here that the ancient Sumerians, Akkadians, and later the Babylonians and Assyrians laid the foundations of society. Around 3500 BCE, the Sumerians built the first city-states, Uruk, Ur, Lagash. These cities flourished through trade, agriculture, and invention, including the world's first form of writing, cuneiform. As time marched forward, empires rose and fell. The Akkadian Empire, led by Sargon the Great, became the first multi-city empire. But after centuries of turmoil, Babylon began to rise from the ashes. Before Hammurabi, Babylon was a modest kingdom. King Sin-Muballit, Hammurabi's father, expanded and fortified Babylon, laying the groundwork for his son's future. Babylonian society was rich in culture, deeply religious, and guided by gods such as Marduk. The people adhered to strict societal roles, celebrated festivals, wrote myths on clay tablets, and viewed kings as divine representatives. Temples were central to urban life, and ziggurats towered over the cities, reaching toward the heavens. Law, trade, astrology, and education flourished. Hammurabi was born around 1810 BCE into the Amorite dynasty that ruled Babylon. This lineage traced its roots to Semitic tribes that migrated into Mesopotamia, blending with the native Akkadian culture. By around 1792 BCE, in the city of Babylon, a young Hammurabi ascended the throne, inheriting a modest kingdom amidst rival city-states like Larsa, Eshnunna, and Mari. Babylon was not yet the grand capital it would become, but Hammurabi saw what others could not, a future bound by order, justice, and divine authority. In the early years of his reign, Hammurabi walked among his people, learning about their struggles and listening to farmers, scribes, merchants, and priests. His reign began not with conquest, but with construction. He built canals that brought life to parched soil, temples that reached for the gods, and walls that protected the innocent. However, Hammurabi was not naive. He understood that peace must be protected by strength. When neighboring kings grew ambitious, he responded not only with armies, but also with strategy. He formed alliances and dismantled them as needed, expanding Babylon's borders from the Persian Gulf in the south to the mountains of Assyria in the north. By the 38th year of his reign, Hammurabi had forged an empire greater than any before in Mesopotamia, yet his true legacy was not in land, but in law. The Code of Hammurabi, carved onto a 7-foot-tall stele of black diorite, stood as a pillar of civilization, symbolizing the idea that law, not might, governed the land. It contained 282 laws, addressing everything from property disputes to medical malpractice, from trade to theft, and from marriage to slavery. Under his code, a builder whose house collapsed and killed its owner could be put to death, a thief had to pay 30 times the value of what he stole, and a judge who delivered a wrong verdict could be removed from office for life. The laws, while harsh, were clear. They served both as a deterrent and a guide. They recognized contracts, protected the weak, ensured fair wages, and stabilized the economy. Most strikingly, they were public. Anyone literate could read them, and even those who could not read could see the monument and understand that justice had a name. But Hammurabi was not just a lawgiver. He saw himself as the shepherd of his people, chosen by the gods Shamash and Marduk. His inscriptions spoke of compassion and duty, of lifting burdens and guarding the helpless. As Babylon flourished, so did its arts and sciences. Scribes preserved myths like the Epic of Gilgamesh, priests charted the stars, and architects designed ziggurats that defied gravity. It was a renaissance born from order. After 43 years on the throne, Hammurabi died, leaving behind not just a city or an empire, but a profound concept. The idea that a king's greatest power lies not in the sword, but in justice. His code would echo through time, influencing Hebrew law, Roman jurisprudence, and modern legal systems. Even today, nearly 4,000 years later, Hammurabi's voice resonates through the stones he left behind, reminding us that civilization begins with fairness and endures through law. He was more than a ruler. He was a founder, a builder, and a father of governance. In a world before paper and parliaments, one man dared to write justice in stone.